Gender, male, age 26, occupation, programmer. What is leadership? Standing up for what you believe in. Awesome, right? Gender, female, age 28, occupation, marketing. What is leadership? Sticking your neck out when it's the right thing to do. And this is the way it went. Really good definitions. Then I got to the one that, to me, pretty much said it all. Gender, male, age 23, occupation, unemployed. What is leadership? If I knew I'd have a job. Thanks, folks. I can't tell you how many people I've met that have no positional authority whatsoever. They're right there on the front line. They're doing the work. It doesn't say leader on their business card, and nobody reports to them, but yet they're great leaders. By virtue of who they are, what they do, how they approach their work, how they approach their lives, and their ability to influence people around them to change the nature of things for the better. This is the kind of person that I've come to call the extreme leader. And extreme leadership, it's not an assignment, it's not a position, it's not a title, it's a choice that we make, and it's a choice that I would argue is open to every one of us. This is the framework for extreme leadership, the manifesto, the operating system, whatever you want to call it, and it stands for love, energy, audacity, and proof. There's something that you've been wanting to do. Maybe it's a move in your business, or taking on a new business, or having a conversation with somebody, or running a seminar, or whatever it is, something that you've really been wanting to do. And you know it's risky, but you feel that it's the right thing to do. And it wouldn't be taking an unnecessary risk or an irresponsible risk. You've talked to the right people, you've thought it through, you think it's going to work out, even though there are no guarantees, but you haven't done it. So you want to do it, it makes sense, and you haven't done it. And if you ask yourself the question, why? Why haven't I done it? And the answer that you get back from yourself to yourself, the honest answer is because I'm scared to, then that's the reason to do it. So push it to the point where it scares you a little bit. Now you know you're in the game. The greatest leaders become the greatest leaders not by calling themselves the greatest leaders, not by shining the spotlight on themselves, not by taking all the credit, but the paradox is that the greatest leaders become the greatest leaders by making others greater than themselves. So he went back to that senior vice president that had demoted him, and he sat down with him and he said, please help me understand what happened. Tell me what I did wrong. And he said originally he went into this guy's office he thought it was going to be a quick 10-minute conversation. It ended up being a couple of hours. And what he learned about himself was this. Yes, he had built this incredible team. Yes, they had this amazing dynamic of love and teamwork, and yes, they were producing. But outside of the confines of his team, Ken was seen throughout the rest of the company as being essentially a belligerent bulldog. So what I'm going to ask you to do is probably not going to seem natural, but I'm going to ask you to put yourself aside for a bit. Put your own despair aside for a moment and focus your attention on somebody else. Can you find somebody that you work with that you can invest yourself in? Share what you've learned, share your knowledge, give your coaching, give your advice, give your perspective in order to raise that person up above yourself. And he started a leadership program, he started a mentoring discussion, he started helping these folks, the numbers started to go up, and he started to get his groove on again. And before he knew it, he was called into another meeting and he was told two things. Number one, the next director position that opens up, you are going to be a candidate for. And number two, we're giving you 5,000 shares of stock vested over 5 years because we want to keep you around. Why culture is so important and why that interconnectivity is so important is the intelligence that exists in a collection of people is phenomenal. And when you increase the level of interaction, it releases the social capital in the organization. If you want to change a culture, where do you have to start? At the top. This is what we've been told, it's what we understand, and to a certain degree it's true. But this is not a full representation of what culture really is. This is not the way the system really works when you start to look at other measures. So, back to that question. How do you change a culture? Do you start at the top? Maybe not. The opportunity that this creates is for us to begin to look at ourselves in the context of our own network. And are there any people in your network They're connected to you, but they're unconnected to each other, that if you were to connect, if you were to close that gap, create that tie between those people, what it could release in terms of capacity and ideas and spirit in your organization that doesn't exist right now. The experience of working is important. It's not just about hiring people to get a job done and cracking the whip until they do that job. It's about creating an environment where people want to do extraordinary things, where people want to make a difference in the world around them.